Welcome to the Gippsland Heritage Walk in Morwell, where it celebrates all the diverse history and people that have come to our region. So why do we even need to have a discussion about diversity? When we think about diversity, we're embracing different points of view, which I think is really about letting go of prejudice. And I think that might come from a survival need many years ago. To survive, we needed to be part of a group, need to work as part of a group, and it was important that the group aligned together. Now, as we've grown and we've evolved, we've become a global world, we have to have a look at how we actually now come together. Around the immigration park, there's all these little bits of information. This is station 12, and if you look over here, we've got panel 1, which it talks about Gippsland manufacturing and the history of the manufacturing in Gippsland. There's more here, and there's so much detail here. And then we've got a breakdown of it's a region of immigrants. And this is when we're talking about diversity. When you look at all the different ways people have come together, the different regions people have come to in Gippsland to create this melting pot of amazing talent that we have. And these little panels around the Gippsland Immigration Park really share that information so that we've got that available to us. So for survival, we've needed to operate as groups, and in many ways we still do, but we now live in a global economy, and fortunately I've had the privilege of traveling to a lot of countries around the world, and what I noticed is that people around the world all have fundamentally similar desires and wants. There's another one of those stations here with lots of information. And we all want to enjoy our life. We all want good things for our family, want good things for our kids. We want our kids to be educated. We generally want our kids to have a better quality of life than we had. So we have all these things in common. And if we look to the differences that we have, sometimes we can look at that from a fearful perspective and say, that's different, that threatens my identity of who I am, and then we reject that and throw that out. And that becomes very limiting, certainly when we're talking about growth. And in nature, if you're not evolving, you become extinct. And that's true of nearly all life that has existed. 99.9% of all life that has existed on planet Earth is extinct. The life that exists and remains is because it evolved. And that's where we need to evolve. But how do we evolve if we're stuck doing the same thing? We're stuck with our same prejudices and holding on to that. It becomes very difficult. And this is where diversity is important, especially for business, because in business, we can then bring different ideas together, different things that we might not have thought of. And that allows us to innovate, to grow. And from those different ideas, we can innovate and grow. I'm just going to stop at another one of these stations. So I'm at station 9, and this one is in times of war. So it's early call to arms, and it talks about the Boer War here. And then we've got World War I for King and Country, and it talks about World War I, then there's Gallipoli here, and then there's more on the back. Over here we've got World War II on this side here, and then we've got women and wartime as well. So we're talking about how the effects of war and what that has, and it's sometimes we forget. I mean, war is obviously a horrible thing, and we would prefer not to do that, but there's some people in the world that will take what we have unless we stand up and stop them. And this is a celebration's not the right word, a memorial, a remembering of the people that gave the ultimate price to protect our freedoms. And it's really, really important, I think, in today's world to reflect on that, because we do as you know, even though there are some wars happening at the moment, we live in the most peaceful time ever in history. So we need to be grateful of that and reflect what these people gave to enable us here to live the life that we live. When we're talking about diversity, it gives us that ability to innovate because we're bringing in fresh new ideas. And as a business, that's really crucial. And I think about that from the perspective of one of my business partners that I worked with, his background was Iranian. And when we think about the Iranian government, there's probably some things that we don't really like about how they approach things. But that's not really a reflection of the Iranian people. They have I thought someone was coming up behind me then. I was hearing things. But yeah, the government there is not a reflection of the Iranian people. And it was really interesting from my own personal prejudice and experiencing the family and culture of my business partner, his wife. We'd go over for dinner and we'd share food, and they would introduce me to new foods that I hadn't experienced before, but there was also foods that were similar to what I had as well. So it was interesting that we were able to learn and grow from that. And I found through that experience, because I was able to let go of my prejudice, growing up, with Iranian-backed terrorists hijacking planes, to in sharing in this wonderful culture. There was so much about the Persian culture which was wonderful to enjoy, and the food, the approach to life. Again, we had a lot of things in common. We wanted good things for our family, we wanted to enjoy life. So we got to share all that. And this is where, again, it's really, really important to step out and create that innovation in business. And it's simply having that attitude of curiosity. So when we look at a business, how do we integrate that? How do we create diversity? I mean, it starts at the leadership, but having an attitude of curiosity, of openness, of wanting to understand something different, wanting to learn something different. It's maintaining, I think I call it, there's some more panels. This is station 6 we're at, so we're counting down. And it's that, I call it the wide-eyed factor. It's the child factor. When you look at how children operate, and they talk about how children learn faster than adults, and I question that. I don't think children actually do learn faster than adults, or have the capacity to learn faster than adults. What happens as adults, we become more closed-minded. And therefore, we don't allow these new things to come in. We don't allow that diversity to come in. Because that's why children learn faster. They've got that diversity there. This is another station. We're at station 4. And this one really looks at the history, the early history, because we're talking about farming here and working the land. And this is what this region was originally known for. We've got fishing as well, the swamps and dams. We've got the building of the Glen Maggie Dam here in 1956. And on the back, we've got, we're talking about the growth of business in the region. We come through the timber workers that were here. And there's more about the timber workers and how important that was to our region. And when we look at that, because this region has so much to it, still does have so much to it. I understand it was originally known as Eden of the East. And you can see why. There's so much here from the very, very beginning. There was so much here to create a prosperous future. So that's station 4 here at the Immigration Park in Morwell. And it's that wide-eyed factor that children have, that when we embrace that, it gives us the ability to really embrace the diversity, the differences that create the ability for us to have that innovation. Because we do live, when you look at our business, we live in a diverse, multicultural world. And if you're looking at your market and how to connect with people, then being able to reach the people, understand those little nuances, gives you a competitive advantage, which is really important. And you're not going to be able to do that if you don't embrace that diversity. And this is where having that approach, that wide-eyed factor approach, and embracing diversity, encouraging that. And it's really about removing that prejudice. And when you break down prejudice, the word prejudice is to prejudge. A lot of the times when we're looking at, something, and we have that prejudice, what we're really doing is we're prejudging, looking at a difference and saying, that they're different from me. A bit of fear kicks in and we get protective, we shut down and we block that out. Which is, again, it is that primal thing that we're looking at for survival. But we don't live in primitive times anymore. We live in one of the most safe times in history. Well, it is the most safest time in history. So we don't need to be fearful anymore. We can just enjoy the differences that we have and learn from that differences. Because it's through those differences you actually become stronger. Think about that from a business perspective. If you have someone that operates in isolationist mode, where they say, this is it, this is all there is, compared to someone who says, okay, there's a diverse range of opinions here. Let's look at that. And then from that, you're going to learn more. It's going to enable you to be more competitive and to be able to serve a broader segment of the market. And this is where, as business, we can lead the way as far as diversity and inclusiveness in our society, by showing that here, this is a strength, because it is a strength. So look at that from that perspective. Throw away the prejudice and look at what you can learn from those around you, because it will make you make you a better person, and it'll make your business much, much stronger as well. This part of the Gippsland Heritage Walk has the immigration walls of recognition, and along here is all the diverse cultures and the people that made up this region. Their names are inscribed on these walls here, on both sides of the walls, to celebrate the diversity that came here. And then if you come along this way, I don't know if you'll be able to see it clearly on the camera, but you've got all these tiles that represent all the different nations, the backgrounds of people here. Greece, Ireland, Germany, Malta, Italy, United Kingdom, Netherlands, Scotland, Poland, Philippines, Turkey, Canada, Croatia, Egypt, Lithuania, China, Hungary, Ecuador, Nepal, Sri Lanka, USA, Serbia, Sweden, Estonia, India, Vietnam, Belgium, Pakistan, Denmark, and more. I can't even pronounce that, sorry, I can't read it quite properly. And there's more that way as well. Excuse my missing that up. But there's so many diverse cultures here, which is really wonderful. And I think that's represented by this statue here of the migrant. And the poem here is: a suitcase filled with courage, wonder, hope and dreams, in search of far horizons for what fate and fortune brings. I have found you, land of freedom, no longer will I roam. My tomorrows are your destiny, Australia, my home. It's a poem by D. Tripoldi. And this is a Gippsland Immigration Wall of Recognition, which was officially opened in 2007. And I said there's so many people on the wall here. If we come around the other side, follow me this way. If you come around and you have a look, there's so many other people on the walls here, 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 and you can still get if you aren't recognized here, you can actually contact them to get recognized. There's a statue over this way, statue sign over this way, come through over this way, telling you how to do that. So this is the walls of recognition for showing the many, many, many diverse cultures that make up our region, which is fabulous. Thank you for joining me here at the Gippsland Heritage Walk, a place that celebrates the diverse cultures that make up our region.